Aviation Charkhi Dadri mid-air collision 1996. This was one of the deadliest mid-air crashes in history. A Saudi jet and a Kazakhstan plane collided over India due to poor communication and air traffic mistakes. All 349 people on board, both aircraft lost their lives. Japan Airlines Flight 123. This tragedy in Japan became the worst single aircraft accident ever. A Boeing 747 suffered structural failure after a previous repair mistake. Out of more than 520 on board, only 4 people survived. US Airways Flight 1549, known as the Miracle on the Hudson. This Airbus A320 hit a flock of geese shortly after takeoff. Captain Chesley Sullenberger ditched the plane safely in the Hudson River, saving all 155 lives. Helios Airways Flight 522, this Boeing 737. Tragedy happened when the cabin lost pressure and the crew became unconscious. The plane flew on autopilot until it ran out of fuel and crashed in Greece, killing all 121 on board. Asiana Airlines Flight 214, a Boeing 777, came in too low while landing in San Francisco. The tail hit the seawall, breaking the aircraft apart. 3 passengers died, but most of the 300 on board survived the crash. 20th Century Maritime Disasters. MV Doña Paz, 1987, this Philippine ferry collided with a tanker carrying fuel, causing a massive fire at sea. Around 4,386 people were killed, making it the deadliest peacetime maritime disaster in history. Costa Concordia, this Italian cruise ship struck rocks off the coast of Tuscany. The captain's mistake led to the ship capsizing partially. Rescue operations saved most passengers, but 32 people still lost their lives. Sewol Ferry, a South Korean ferry carrying hundreds of students, overturned and sank. Poor safety measures and slow rescue response made it worse. Out of 476 on board, more than 300 died, most of them teenagers. Jula Ferry, this Gambian ferry, was carrying far more people than it was built for. When it capsized in rough seas, over 1,800 people died. Only about 64 passengers survived, showing the terrible lack of safety. Al Salam Boccaccio, 98, an Egyptian ferry, sailing across the Red Sea, caught fire and later sank. Panic and poor evacuation made the disaster even worse, with more than 1,000 people losing their lives. American Airlines Flight 587, 2001, just 2 months after 9/11. This Airbus A300 crashed shortly after takeoff from New York. The tail section broke off due to pilot input stress, sending the plane into a neighborhood. A total of 265 people died, including some on the ground. GOL transports Aereos Flight 1907, 2006, over the Amazon rainforest. A Boeing 737 collided midair with a private legacy jet. The smaller plane managed to land safely, but the Boeing crashed in the jungle, killing all 154 on board. Aloha Airlines Flight 243, this Boeing 737 was flying between Hawaiian Islands when part of its roof tore open mid-flight due to metal fatigue. Amazingly, the pilots landed safely. Only 1 crew member died, but it showed how aging aircraft could be dangerous. Turkish Airlines Flight 1951, 2009 *. A faulty sensor confused the Boeing 737's systems during landing in Amsterdam. The plane slowed too much and crashed short of the runway. 9 people were killed, while dozens survived with injuries. Lion Air Flight 900 for 2013 while landing in Bali during heavy rain. A Boeing 737 overshot the runway and went into the sea. The aircraft broke apart, but all 108 passengers and crew were rescued with only minor injuries. MV Queen of the North, this Canadian ferry was traveling at night when it struck Gill Island. Despite rescue efforts, the ship sank, and 2 people on board were never found again. It remains one of Canada's most tragic ferry accidents. MV Nyerere Ferry in Tanzania. This ferry was packed far beyond its safe capacity. It capsized just meters away from the dock, killing over 200 people. Overcrowding and poor safety rules were the main causes of the disaster. MV Bulgaria, a Russian river cruise ship, sank in a storm on the Volga River. The vessel was old and poorly maintained, leading to the deaths of 122 people. Many of the victims were families enjoying a holiday trip. Naval incidents. USS Cole attack, 2000. A U.S. Navy destroyer was refueling in Yemen when a small boat filled with explosives rammed into it. The terrorist attack tore a huge hole in the warship's side, killing 17 American sailors. ARA San Juan submarine 2017. This Argentine submarine vanished during a routine patrol. Search teams later discovered that an internal explosion had caused it to sink. All 44 crew members on board were lost. Continental Airlines Flight 1404, 2008 during takeoff in Denver. Strong crosswinds forced a Boeing 737 off the runway. The plane burst into flames, but thanks to a quick evacuation, all 115 passengers and crew survived. JetBlue Flight 292-2005, an Airbus A320, had a landing gear problem. The nose wheel was stuck sideways. The pilots circled Los Angeles to burn fuel before landing safely. Everyone on board walked away without injuries. Southwest Flight 1248-2005, during a snowy night in Chicago, a Southwest 737 overran the runway and crashed into traffic outside the airport. Tragically, a child on the ground was killed, but passengers on board survived. MV Lady Mary Joy 3 2023. This Philippine ferry caught fire at sea during a night voyage. Chaos spread quickly, and dozens of passengers died, while many others were rescued by Coast Guards and nearby boats. Viking Siegen collision 2019 in Budapest. A river cruise ship struck a small sightseeing boat carrying tourists. The smaller vessel sank within seconds, and dozens of passengers drowned in the Danube River. Duckboat tragedy 2018 in Missouri. A tourist amphibious boat was caught in a sudden storm. Strong waves capsized the vessel, and 17 people lost their lives, many from the same family. HTMS Sukhothai 2022. A Thai Navy corvette sank during a storm in the Gulf of Thailand. Many sailors jumped into the rough sea, but rescue operations struggled. Dozens were lost to the waves. Russian cruiser Moskva 2022. The pride of Russia's Black Sea Fleet was struck by Ukrainian missiles during the war. The Moskva eventually sank, marking one of the most significant naval losses in modern history. Indonesian submarine Kri Nanggala 402, 2021, during a naval drill near Bali. This aging submarine went missing. Days later, it was found in pieces on the ocean floor. All 53 crew members on board perished. American Airlines Flight 14201-999. This MD-82 was landing in Little Rock during a violent thunderstorm. The aircraft skidded off the wet runway and broke apart. 11 passengers were killed, while many others survived with injuries. China Airlines Flight 122,007, after landing in Okinawa, a Boeing 737 suddenly caught fire on the taxiway. Luckily, the crew evacuated all 165 people before the flames destroyed the aircraft completely. Southwest Flight 1455-2000, a Southwest 737 came in too fast while landing at Burbank Airport. The jet overran the runway and crashed into a gas station fence. Although the plane was badly damaged, everyone on board survived. Norman Atlantic 2014, a fire broke out on this Italian ferry during a winter voyage. The blaze spread quickly in rough seas, making rescue operations extremely difficult. Dozens of passengers were killed before the flames were controlled. Orient Queen 2020. This Lebanese cruise ship was docked in Beirut when a huge port explosion shook the city. The blast destroyed the ship, and 2 crew members died in the disaster. Diamond Cruise Ship 2007, a Greek cruise ship struck an underwater reef near Santorini. The vessel began to sink slowly, giving time for evacuation. 2 passengers, however, went missing and were never found. Ukrainian patrol ship Sloviansk 2022, during the conflict in Ukraine. This small patrol ship was targeted by a Russian missile. The vessel sank quickly, showing how vulnerable smaller naval craft can be in modern warfare. Charkhi Dadri midair collision 1996, a Saudi jet and a Kazakhstan plane collided in midair over India due to poor communication. The crash killed all 349 on board both aircraft. Japan Airlines Flight 123A Boeing 747 suffered a structural failure caused by an old repair mistake. It became the deadliest single aircraft accident ever, killing 520 people with only 4 survivors. US Airways Flight 1549, called the Miracle on the Hudson. This Airbus A320 lost both engines after a bird strike. The pilots ditched the jet safely in the Hudson River, saving all 155 lives. Helios Airways Flight 522, when the pressurization system failed. Crew and passengers lost consciousness. The Boeing 737 flew on autopilot until it ran out of fuel and crashed in Greece, killing 121 people. Asiana Airlines Flight 214A Boeing 777 came in too low while landing in San Francisco. The tail struck the seawall, leading to 3 deaths and many injuries, though most on board survived. American Airlines Flight 587-2001, just after takeoff from New York. The Airbus A300 lost its tail due to stress on the structure. The crash killed 265 people, including those on the ground. GOL Transport's Aereos Flight 1907-2006 over the Amazon rainforest. A Boeing 737 collided midair with a private jet. The smaller jet landed safely, but the 737 crashed, killing all 154 on board. Aloha Airlines Flight 243, the roof of a Boeing 737 ripped open mid-flight due to metal fatigue. Despite the damage, the pilots landed safely, with only one fatality. Turkish Airlines Flight 195-12009. A faulty sensor caused the Boeing 737 to slow too much during landing in Amsterdam. The crash killed 9 people while dozens survived. Lion Air Flight 900 for 2013 during heavy rain. A Boeing 737 overran the runway and ended up in the sea. The aircraft broke apart, but all 108 on board survived.